President Biden's controversial pick for a key banking regulation position has withdrawn from the process. Saule Omarova had been heavily criticized for past statements about Marxism and the American economy. She writes that it was no longer tenable for her to be considered as comptroller of the currency. GOP Senator Pat Toomey said today a, quote, bipartisan consensus emerged that her self-proclaimed radical ideas for America's financial system were not suitable for our nation's top banking regulator. The president said in a statement that she was subjected to inappropriate personal attacks and would have brought invaluable insight and perspective to the job. So from Omarova to Omicron, let's bring in tonight's Dream Team panel to talk about the latest challenges facing the Biden administration. Fox News contributor Leslie Marshall and TAG Strategies Vice President Aaron Perini. Welcome back to both of you.
Hi, Shannon.
So the Wall Street Journal opinion piece today talking about Omarova's withdrawal said this: the real fault lies with the White House advisors who thought they could push through a nominee for comptroller of the currency who loathes the banking system she was going to supervise. Aaron.
Well, the Wall Street Journal's absolutely correct, and I've seen other legacy mainstream corporate media outlets out there talking about how this has to do with where she was born or what was going on. No, the fact that she didn't get through was a bipartisan consensus and a good one for this country. You can't have the comptroller of the currency who stands antithetical to the banking system in the United States, let alone wants to see the destruction of the energy industry. It took Democrats and Republicans to stop this. It had nothing to do with where she was born. It had to do with the radical ideas that she was trying to pursue in the comptroller's office, and it was good that she's not going to be moving forward.
And her nomination is part of this entire issue of the economy, which is a tough one right now for the Biden administration. The Wall Street Journal has some new polling numbers out on this today. The headline is "Voters Pessimistic About Economy, Biden's Leadership." It says the survey reveals a set of danger signs for the Democratic Party as it prepares to defend narrow majorities in the House and Senate. Voters by a large margin see economic and fiscal issues, including inflation, as the top priorities for Washington, and they view the GOP as better able to handle them. Leslie.
Well, this is part of the problem that I have with my party is messaging. We can't just say, hey, we're not Donald Trump and keep invoking, Trump and the division in the GOP when we have division in our own party. Yeah, it's still the economy stupid. When you look at the polls, Latinos, women, African Americans, white males, economy is #1 and most important to them as voters. So going into the midterms, the Democrats should, put forth that, we have higher wages out there, put forth that the unemployment rate has come down. I do think that there's a lot of negative messaging that comes from our opponents on the right, and they've been very successful in that, talking about, well, there weren't as many jobs created, or less people are going back to work, more people have retired. Well, sometimes retiring can be a good thing, but Democrats need to hone in on that #1 issue for voters, which is the economy, and put forth everything that's been done that's been good so far, like the infrastructure and, bipartisan support in that under the leadership of President Biden, and into the midterms. Now, historically, we know that the party in power, whoever's in the White House, if you have a Democrat, they're going to lose seats, Republican, you're going to lose seats. It's historical, it's cyclical, that is to be expected. But where and by how many, that certainly can be concerning. And like I said, my party has to get a very strong message, and that message, in my opinion, should be that $, the economy.
Yeah, that Wall Street Journal report also talked about the fact, one of the pollsters talked about that people expected, those who voted for him, President Biden, to be able to get a better handle on COVID. We know there's only so much that human beings can do to get control of a virus like this. And the administration has tried a number of things, and they are ramping up some of those as we go into the winter season. And there have been worries about Omicron. The European Center for Disease Prevention and Control, part of the European Union, under this headline, the Omicron variant of concern, the data as of the 6th of December says all cases for which there is available information on severity were either asymptomatic or mild. No deaths have been reported among these cases so far. So, Aaron, that's where we are right now. And listen, the president had another loss today on his mandate being blocked at the federal level with regard to federal contractors. So, quick comment from both of you on what the administration should do now moving forward with COVID heading into the winter season. Aaron, to you, then Leslie.
Yeah, I mean, this administration needs to let the American people get back to work, not try to enforce these kind of mandates. When we're struggling to add jobs to an economy that is thirsty for employees, it doesn't make sense to try and sector out people who, for whatever reason, if it's a choice with their doctor, or it's a religious exemption, whatever it is, for those who do not get a vaccine or choose not to keep them out of the workforce. Okay. This economy needs to be running on all cylinders, and that's not going to happen with more federal mandates.
All right, quickly, Leslie, before we get cut off, final word.
Most mandates allow you to have the option of a waiver from your doctor or to be tested on a weekly basis. We certainly have that here in California. In addition to that, no matter what variant it is, the only way this virus will weaken or even disappear is more of us being vaccinated. They will have less host to attach to. And even though people can get variants, we're seeing that they're not dying or being entered into the ICU and being put on respirators.
Yeah, and
they're safe for being vaccinated.
Yeah, let's hope that the initial assessment of Omicron as weaker does pan out to be true. Leslie and Aaron, thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Shannon.
you.